Linda decided that the best way to get Jude was to eliminate his family.
If you want the full information, meet me at Kenyon Bridge by 7 p.m. tonight.
As soon as she got to Kenyon Bridge, she slowed down. Two strong, hefty men with covered faces rushed towards her with gallons. They immediately poured the contents of the gallon on the car and threw a lighter on it, setting them ablaze. The children screamed, "Mommy, please help us! Mommy, help us! We are going to die!" Chunayo screamed, frantically trying to open the door, but the heat from the fire had shut it. The glasses were all wound up. There was no escape. A taxi driver had chosen that route to travel home after the day's job, and just few meters away, he saw the raging flames of fire. He had wanted to excuse it as an old car burning, but when he saw a figure move inside the car, his heart caught in his chest. He quickly realized what was happening. He sharply reversed and went into the city, screaming as he called a crowd of people to help save someone who was burning inside a car at the bridge. Everyone left what they were doing and ran with him to the scene. The crowd yelled as soon as they saw the car up in flames. "People there inside though!" they screamed to one another. Quickly, they began bringing all manner of items to take out the fire. Some brought gallons of water, others brought detergents, yet others brought heaps of sand. They threw everything they could lay hands on at the burning car. Relentlessly, they tried to stop the fire and save the people inside. An ambulance was called, and by the time they arrived, they had stopped the fire. The crowd gasped as the victims were carried out of the car and wheeled into the ambulance. They shook their heads in pity, wondering what could have caused such a fatal accident. "I hope say them never die, yo. God, please help this family," one of them said as the ambulance drove away.
Na the husband now dey pity. How you go take manage this kind wahala now? Abeg, who fit call the husband make we inform am say im family don die, abi dey almost die? Because me sef no sabi wetin dey occur for here.
Another man said, "You sure say no be overheating cause this fire? Cause we women, we no dey sabi when car dey overheat, na just to drive be our own. She fit no realize say water don finish for the car." The local seller spoke up. Everyone had something to say, and they all felt pity for the ugly incidents and wished them well as they dispersed to their various businesses. Mr. Jude was in his office, his palms sweating, as he thought of all possible ways to placate his wife when he got home, if she had eventually found out about his affair. But then a call came.
This is Jude Okoya, Palms Hospital. May I know who is speaking?
He said confidently as soon as he spoke up. His fingers trembled as he listened to what the caller said. The phone suddenly dropped from his hand and he slumped into the chair, his hands on his head.
Oh my God, I am finished. Oh my God, Jesus, please save me. Oh my God,
he muttered. He grabbed his bags and dashed out of his office, not even bothering for pleasantries or protocols. Everyone thought he had run mad, but he could just be at this point. He drove like a madman to the hospital where his family was fighting for their lives.
I'm here to see my family. They were rescued from a burning car.
He quickly rasped before the receptionist. "Right this way, sir," she beckoned to him. She hurriedly took him to the intensive care unit, but he was not allowed into the room. "Your entire family is in there and they are currently tended to. You will be allowed inside when things stabilize a bit," the woman said. Mr. Jude stared at his wife and children from the glass, and his heart broke into pieces.
Will they be fine?
He asked, as soon as a doctor came out to see him. It was even a miracle that they survived this accident. They inhaled quite a lot of smoke and sustained second-degree burns. "We will do all we can and watch them very closely. But for now, just pray," the doctor responded. Mr. Jude placed his hand on his head and paced the lobby all night, wondering how on earth his family got into such a situation. One moment he was scared for his own life, and the next he was scared for theirs.
How did this even happen?
He wondered aloud. Linda sat in her living room with two hefty, strange-looking men by the dead of the night drinking wine to celebrate their successful deal. She pulled out 2 envelopes and handed it to one of them. "It was nice doing business with you," she said with a handshake. The men thanked her and hailed her. "I may need you again, so don't be scarce. But for now, I don't know you and you don't know me," she said as she discharged them. "Now, Mr. Jude, we are even. We have both lost our families, and so nothing can stop us being together now," she smiled wickedly. As soon as she relaxed to watch her favorite movie of the day, a news popped up online.
Good evening and welcome to the news at 8. An unidentified woman and her 2 children were rescued from a burning car just few hours ago and currently receiving medical care at an undisclosed hospital. It was reported that a taxi driver discovered the incident and gathered a crowd to put out the fire, saving the victims. It is yet to be determined if the fire was a deliberate act of murder or just an unfortunate incident, but we hope their health is fully restored.
"What?" Linda screamed, her eyes red with rage. "How could this be? No, no, no! This can't be!" she screamed, falling to the floor. Tears flowed down her eyes as she sobbed, seeing that her plans had failed. "Oh no, Jude! You have to be mine! Jude, please! We are meant for each other!" she screamed in agony. 8 hours later, Chinonye and the children were wheeled out of the surgical room with bandages all over their bodies. Mr. Jude rushed to his wife, tears welling up in his eyes.
Who did this to you? Baby, tell me, let me go after them. I will bring Armageddon upon them.
The doctors calmed him down. "We have attended to the burns and they will now be placed under 24 hours watch, and we will make sure they are well cared for. For now, please, do not do anything rash. Just pray for your family. It will be well." Mr. Jude went over to his children and kissed them one after the other.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my little pumpkins. I'm so sorry I wasn't there when this happened. But by God, if a human is responsible for this, I will let hell loose upon them.
He swore under his breath. Linda paced the room frantically. This wasn't the outcome she expected. How could they have survived the fire? It's not possible. Her men did a clean job. They delivered. That stupid taxi driver. Why didn't he just mind his business? "Oh no, no, no," she muttered frantically. "I have to finish this myself. Yes, they have to die. Jude is mine, and I will have him by any means. But first, she had to find out the hospital where they were." She picked up the phone and dialed a number. Mr. Jude went home briefly to change into a casual dress and make some calls. As he drove back to the hospital, his phone rang. It was Linda. He last saw her at the mall when he went shopping with his family, and he's been very grateful that she kept her distance. But now she's calling again. What could she possibly want from him now? He didn't want to have anything to do with her, especially not at this time. He tried to ignore her calls, but it was persistent. Very typical of Linda. He sighed and picked up the call.
"Hello, Linda,"
he said with frustration written in his voice. "Hello, Mr. Jude. It's been a while. How are you and the family? It's been such a very long time and I just wanted to reach out and say hello," Linda responded. Mr. Jude sighed.
Maybe she's just trying to be nice.
He thought to himself.
Thank you for calling, Linda. I wish I could say I'm fine and that the family is well. But I will be lying. My wife and children barely survived a fire accident today, and they are battling for their lives at the hospital as we speak. I have been a mess for the past 10 hours.
Oh my God, Mr. Jude, this is so shocking. I'm so speechless right now. Oh, may God grant them full recovery. This is too much. Where are you right now?
I'm on my way back to the hospital. I can't just sleep. I can't even eat. I have to be with them.
Mr. Jude said. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Please text me the hospital and the address so I can meet you there. You shouldn't be all alone at this time, Linda said.
Alright, I will do that right away. Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate your care.
Jude said as he hung up. About 2 minutes later, a notification popped up on Linda's phone. It was from Jude. He had sent the name of the hospital where his wife and children were being treated. Now, all she had to do was perfect her plan and finish up the job. Bingo! She smiled wickedly. Jude was in the waiting room, pacing restlessly when Linda entered. She rushed to him and hugged him tightly. Jude hugged her back helplessly, thinking innocently that she was offering genuine care and comfort. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jude. You're such a good man with a very beautiful soul. This shouldn't be happening to you, she said as she touched his face gently. Jude felt her words of comfort reached his heart and he smiled weakly.
Thank you very much, Linda. Your presence here means a lot to me.
Linda offered him the food she brought, and as soon as the aroma hit his nose, he immediately remembered how hungry he was. He dived into the food, and within a few minutes, he was done.
Wow, Linda, you are a godsend. What could I have done without you?
He gushed over her, singing her praises. Linda smiled and sat beside him. You've been so good to me, Jude. You pulled me out of a shell in my worst times. Please just relax and allow me to return the favor, she said, with her hands on his thighs. Jude felt a sense of peace, as if being reassured by a true friend. And just like that, Linda began bringing him food every day, calling him at every hour to see how he was doing, checking in at the hospital to see his wife and children. And soon enough, almost all the hospital staff got to know her. Because of the way she behaved around Jude, they all thought she was a close relative of the family, and they granted her access to every part of the hospital she wanted to enter, believing that she was doing her best to care for the accident victims. However, Linda had other plans. As soon as she realized that she had gained Jude's trust and that of the hospital staff, she immediately moved on to the next stage of her plans. Jude was feeling very tired after a long day at work. Chinonye and the children were making a slow and steady progress, and it looked like all would be well. But after a long day, Jude was very tired and needed to go home and freshen up and get some rest. Linda was by his side as usual, ready to seize the opportunity. Oh, I just made a very spicy goat meat assorted and boiled yam for dinner. Let me drive you to my place so you can eat and rest up a bit. You look thoroughly fatigued, she offered. Jude sighed and yawned. That sounded very welcoming, and he was already on his feet. I can't wait to devour that food and hit the bed, he said in response as he gathered his suitcase. He kissed his wife Chinonye, who was sleeping, and followed Linda out.
I'll be back soon,
he said to the receptionist and waved at them. No dear, let me drive. You're very tired. I've told you before. Allow me to take care of you, Linda offered. Jude's heart bursted with gratitude. He hadn't had such a friend all his life, and he was really grateful for Linda. They drove to her apartment, and as soon as they got inside, Linda pulled him into a tight hug, stylishly rubbing her body all over him. "Welcome to my humble abode. Please make yourself comfortable while I dish the food," she said sweetly as she walked off to the kitchen. Jude strolled into her bedroom without needing her assistance. After all, he's been here before. He went into her bathroom and freshened up. Everything was in order. New towel, new bathrobes, even male clothes. It was as though she had planned it. He just couldn't place his hand on it, but he was too tired to care. By the time he got out of the shower, the dining was already set with assorted dishes. Linda smiled at him, urging him to sit.
Wow, it smells heavenly here.
Jude said as he sat down, immediately diving into the dishes. They enjoyed their dinner, drinking wine, talking and laughing like they had been friends for ages. And soon the atmosphere changed. A soft music started playing. Linda held his hand, rubbing it gently. "Thank you for being such a true friend to me, Jude. You've been there for me when everyone else left. I can never take you for granted, ever," she said softly. Jude smiled back at her.
I could say the same for you, Linda. I mean, I never expected you to show up for me the way you do, but you've stuck with me every step of the way. I am very happy I have you by my side,
he replied. They both got up and walked to the living room, hand in hand. Jude with a sense of peace, but Linda with her masterpiece strategy in full swing. She held Jude again, looking into his eyes. "Maybe we can be there for each other and take away each other's pain. We don't have to be so alone when we have each other. Let's just make ourselves happy any way we can. No strings attached," Linda said with a tempting voice. Jude looked at her. Those eyes that could see through his soul. Those perfect lips, the feel of her body locked on his. What could be wrong about this here and now? I mean, they've done it before, and they could do it again.
"Sure, why not?"
he said, as he lowered his lips to meet hers. They kissed each other passionately right there. Jude carried her up to the bedroom, and for the second time, they crossed a line of no return. Jude was fast asleep when Linda sneaked out of the bed. She quickly threw on a white top and black shorts and carried her backpack. She needed to get to the hospital and finish up the job before anyone realizes. She didn't use her car. Instead, she boarded a taxi to the hospital. "Driver, quick, take me to Clarion Call Hospital," she urged the old man. Sensing an urgency, the taxi sped up all the way to the hospital at that dead hour of the night. When she got to the hospital, she greeted the receptionist warmly. "What of the husband?" they asked. "Oh, Jude is really tired after a long day, so I'm going to be the one to take care of them tonight," she said with a beaming smile. "Aw, that is so sweet of you. Please go ahead, let us not keep you waiting," they replied, and granted her access without suspecting anything. Linda hurried along the hallway. Then she got to the door and opened it gently. She walked slowly to where Chinonye laid with her eyes closed. The drip was running as expected. This should be very quick, breeze in and breeze out. She quietly brought down her backpack and opened it. Gently, she pulled out the injection and walked towards Chinonye. As she raised her hands to inject the substance into the IV bag, she saw a flutter of lashes from the corner of her eyes. Then Chinonye's eyes flashed open. She looked at Linda with an unsure expression. "Are you my nurse?" she asked. She wasn't all very sure because Linda looked nothing like a nurse. Linda recovered from her shock quickly and smiled. Oh, yes. I'm here to cover for my colleague who suddenly got ill this evening. I'm just going to give you an additional dose of analgesic to help you sleep better tonight. And by morning, you should be strong as ever, she said with a beaming smile. Chinonye looked at her and frowned. Really? A nurse already gave me an analgesic tonight, and she said my next dose is tomorrow morning. Linda frowned. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. She laughed uneasily, dropping the injection on the table. Few minutes later, she picked it up again. Oh, it's okay. Let me give you vitamin C injection instead. It will help you to fight the infection, she said quickly as she tried to inject her with the substance. But Chinonye stopped her. I've had vitamin C injection earlier today too. I shouldn't have another dose until 48 hours later, she said as she looked at Linda with a suspicious gaze. Do we know each other? Chinonye found herself asking. I think I may have seen you somewhere before, but I can't remember. Oh, really? Well, I'm a nurse, but I'm not a permanent staff, so you may have seen me here once, Linda replied. But Chinonye was not convinced. Something about her seemed very off. Was she really a nurse? If she was really a nurse, she would have checked her vitals immediately she entered the room, or even checked her file to check for what medication she was yet to be given. She did not look or behave anything like a nurse, and her skin was beginning to prick her that something was wrong. She took another look at Linda, and then her memory joggled. Linda looked very oddly familiar. I think we've met somewhere before. I think at the mall. Yes, you are the lady who lost her family in an accident. My husband's client. Chinonye finally said. Yes, she never forgot a face easily. But my husband never mentioned that you are a nurse by profession. I think he said you are a banker. Oh, I'm sorry, but you are mistaken. I'm not married. And I don't even have a family. Maybe I look like someone you know. Linda smiled uneasily. No, you are not a nurse. Your name is Linda. Why are you here? Chinonye spoke up, as bolts of panic began running through her body. This must be some expensive joke. Yes, the events of the past weeks began to make sense to her. She recalled Jude's uneasiness when they bumped into her at the mall, the odd messages she received thereafter, the night Jude left them to be with her, and then the setup. It all began to make sense to her now. You're sleeping with my husband, aren't you? And you are responsible for what happened to me and my children, Chinonye said. Linda sighed in exasperation. All right, fine, you caught me. Yes, I'm the one behind all of it. Jude and I share a wonderful and unique relationship, and it's only fair he ends up with a woman he truly loves, and not one he's forced to stay with in the name of marriage. Chinonye laughed hysterically. A woman he loves? You mean yourself? Linda walked up to her and showed her a live camera footage on her phone. Chinonye fought back tears as she watched her husband sleeping peacefully on Linda's bed in real time. Jude is on my bed instead of staying by your side. So, who do you think he loves more? Linda asked scornfully. So like I said, it's only right for you and your two urchins to disappear so Jude and I can be together, she said as she quickly injected the poison into the drip bag. Chinonye tried to remove the cannula from her wrist and escape, but Linda held her down, pinning her to the bed. Why are you so stubborn, you little rat? Die so I can be happy, Linda screamed at her. Die, you little rat, die! Chinonye struggled with her greatest strength, but she was too weak for Linda. Fortunately, her hand reached for the red button beside her, and she pressed it repeatedly without Linda's knowledge. The surveillance operator was dozing off when the beep came in. It rang severally, clear and unmistakable. It was a red alert. He immediately sprang up and hovered his face on the screen. His heart pounded in his chest when he saw what was happening in room 9. He quickly put a call to the security men and the receptionist.
Make una rush go room 9 oh. Person dey buy person for there oh.
He alerted them. The security men and hospital staff began rushing to the scene. Once Chinonye was subdued and laid lifeless, Linda rushed out of the room and went into room 10, where her children were admitted. He quickly injected their drip bags with the substance. But as soon as she came out of the room, the security men sighted her.
Hold am, na she be the one oh, na she be the killer oh, hold am oh.
They began screaming, pointing to her. Linda took to her heels and dashed into the elevator, riding to the ground floor. The security men called for backup immediately as they ran down the staircase to block her off. Alarms began flying off. The nurses and doctors wheeled Chinonye and the children into the emergency room and began trying to resuscitate them. Orders and tools began flying up and down. Hearts were beating very fast. Lives were at stake. There was practically confusion everywhere. Meanwhile, Jude was sleeping peacefully on another woman's bed. But suddenly he jerked up. Something felt wrong. He looked around and Linda was nowhere to be found. He crawled out of the bed, hoping to catch her around the house somewhere. But as he wandered about, everywhere was dead silent. He mistakenly found himself inside her private study, and that was when his senses came back. He saw pictures of him and his family plastered on the wall. Some were torn to shreds, and others were marked with red. His name was boldly written in red across her mirrors. Pictures of him from way back were printed from the printer on the table. Now it all made sense to him. Linda was the mastermind behind all the evil happening in his life. He wasn't just dealing with a human here. This was one sick and dangerous psychopath. But where was she? He looked around again, and then the answer hit him like a tornado.
Oh my God, my family!
He screamed as he ran out of the house half naked. He took a taxi and he urged the driver to pretend like he was in Fast and Furious. The driver understood the assignment and gave him exactly what he wanted. Linda reached the ground floor and dashed out of the elevator. Her sprints were energetic, hitting the floor with a thud. But what she didn't know was that tonight was her nemesis. As soon as she dashed out of the automated sliding glass, a group of policemen were already waiting for her. Red and blue lights flashed across the driveway. Sirens wailed. Linda blinked against the flashing beams as security guards and police officers descended upon her. She had run straight into their arms. There was no escape. Quickly, they handcuffed her and led her to the police van, but she was obstinate. She struggled and tried to run, but she was no match for the hefty officers. As soon as Jude entered the hospital and saw the scene playing out, he knew that something terrible had happened. And then Linda began screaming, "Jude, please help me! Don't leave me! I love you, my baby!" She turned to the police officers. "He's my therapist! He loves me! Ask him!" Linda was bundled into the van and driven away to the police station. Jude stood frozen, his hands on his head, his eyes popping out of their sockets. His life was finished. And just like that, the secret was out. The news broke online.
Breaking news. A Palms Hospital trauma therapist, Jude Okoya, has been implicated in an unethical relationship with a grieving client whose mental state remains unconfirmed. Investigations are currently underway concerning 2 attempted murder incidents involving the Okoya family.
Headlines screamed.
Breaking news. An Okoya family is reportedly battling for their lives for the second time in 2 months. Reliable sources indicate that a grieving client of the husband may be responsible for these near-death incidents. Rumors of an affair between the therapist and his client have circulated for weeks, and now, after losing her own family, the client appears to be forcing her way into his life. What in the name of obsession is this? Stay tuned for more news.
Jude was suspended from work until investigations were complete. Hospital emails leaked. Security footages were revealed. Linda's voicemail was played on gossip podcasts. Her apartment was ransacked, and all her abominable deeds were brought to light. The whole city had an opinion, but none was louder than Chinonye's silence. She and her children had survived the ordeal through a needle's eye. She stayed in the guest room, refusing to eat or talk to anyone. Their home, once full of warmth, was now a war zone of glances, sighs, regrets, and things unsaid. Jude begged and begged, but it was just medicine after death. The first time may have been a mistake, but the second time? No, that was a message. And to think that he was cuddling with the enemy while she and her children fought for their lives was completely unforgivable. One day, Jude came home to find the house empty. His wife had left him, taking the children with her. He slumped into the couch and buried his head in his hands. There was nothing else he could do at this point than to give them the time to heal and hope that whatever was left of their marriage could be salvaged in due time. After investigations were concluded, Jude lost his license to operate as a clinical psychologist and trauma therapist, while Linda was judged and sentenced to 19 years imprisonment for 2 times attempted murder, but she had to undergo rehabilitation at a psychiatric hospital first before serving her term. Jude was left with nothing, not a job, nor a means to one, nor a family. All he had to his name was an empty apartment that echoed sadness and regrets. In a dim cell at a psychiatric hospital, Linda sat cross-legged, murmuring to herself, "He will come. I know he's going to come. He just needs time. They don't understand. I felt it. It was real," she murmured. A nurse walked by. Linda smiled at her. "Tell Dr. Jude Okoya that I'm still waiting," she said, sitting at a corner and humming a soft lullaby. And so, the story of the healer who became the afflicted and the love that turned into obsession became a cautionary tale told in whispers, that even shadows can cast shadows. If you enjoyed the story, hit the like button and drop a sizzling comment. Let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a shout out. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your bell notification so you can be updated when a new video drops. See you in my next one and remain blessed.